Welcome to Northrop Grumman's Federal Credit Union's Women's Month. We salute two of Metro's directors today, Ms. Rita Woodson and Sandra Owens. My name is Cheryl Ewell, and I will be your host for today's Women's Month celebration. We are excited to salute two of Metro's transportation directors. These two women have represented strong growth careers within the Metro landscape. They set the stage of integrity, knowledge, and leadership. Sandra Owens is a bus operation director at Division 13 in Los Angeles, California, and has carried out the role of director for approximately 12 years. Rita Woodson is a rail operations director at Division 22 in Lawndale, California, and has carried out the role of director for over 10 years. I am proud to have had the opportunity to know both women personally, as they have been an inspiration and a wealth of open opportunities for me, also for the credit union, Northrop Grumman Federal Credit Union. I am also proud of their openness to share with other associates and their subordinates the value in seeking financial support within our credit union. This is not just advice for others, for they too have looked towards Northrop Grumman Federal Credit Union for their financial endeavors. I would like to take this time to salute all the women and all of the leaders of the Metro Transportation. But today belongs to Sandra and Rita. We are fortunate to be surrounded by such incredible innovators and leaders. We appreciate you, and we're here to celebrate you. Without further ado, I would like to highlight each one and allow them the opportunity to share their backgrounds and offer helpful tips for other career-driven women who are looking for a healthy balance between career growth and financial fitness. Ms. Woodson, thank you so much for joining us today. And I very much salute you, and I am honored to be here to speak with you. And we would just like to welcome you from Northrop Grumman Federal Credit Union.
Well, thank you.
I would like to start out by just asking you a couple of questions. And I would like for you to tell me a little bit or give us a little bit of background in your current role as director.
Okay. Well, I just added up approximate years of being a director, and it's about 18 years. I started at RTD as a bus operator, and through the years, I promoted and ended up being a director, which in my day they were managers. I also had the opportunity in it was 80. Boy, let me get my dates together for this rail. 1987, I was asked by which they called the general manager, which was like the assistant CEO. Now that's what the title would be. Would I like to come to the rail? I was a supervisor then, and of course I knew nothing about rail. I didn't even know we were going to have a rail department or whatnot or whatever, but I accepted the challenge. So I was transferred into rail, and then we eventually opened up in 1990 the Blue Line. I went to Canada, learned how to operate the trains in Canada before our operation. But anyway, I worked as field supervisor, I worked as a yard controller, I did a little time in instruction, I worked as an assistant manager, and then manager. So our manager, which is now director. So I've been director at the Blue Line, the A Line. I've been director at the Red Line, which is B Line, and I've been director at the C Line, which is the Green Line. And it's just been a great opportunity for me to work in this position. Through the years, I've seen a lot of changes. Like I said, where we just had bus, now we have rail, and it's just it's just been great to work in this position because I've been able to grow. I've been able to help other people, employees or whatnot or whatever. So it's been a challenge, of course. I was the first manager, director on the rail side in operations, but it's been wonderful. That's all I can say. I've had my good times, had my bad times, but I've had way more good times than bad times. Okay.
Oh my goodness, that was just fantastic. You shared so much and you're so humble about it all. Um, it really shows how much of a great leader you are by taking on the challenge, because it is those challenges and those tough times that make such a great leader, and you exhibit that every day that I've ever seen you in operation. Also, I was quite impressed by you traveling to Canada to do some of your training as well, so that was really an educational piece for me, and I'm sure for many others.
Correct. It was me and 11 men.
Oh my goodness. So you represented the women independently.
Correct.
Yet again, another point in why you are such a fantastic leader. So we are just grateful to have you here.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I do have just a couple of more questions for you.
Okay.
So the next one is, what role does financial stability play in career advancement? And do you have any personal testimonies of you looking towards Northrop Grumman Federal Credit Union for your financial endeavors?
Of course, I think when we're younger, well, for me, when I was younger, as far as financial stability, I was a single parent. I have to speak for myself, um, basically was just struggling to make it from paycheck to paycheck and to try to provide for my daughter the best opportunities possible and for us to live, to have a decent living standard, or should I say. But as we get older and we start thinking that I have to really start thinking about your financial future and be able to really to speak people and help them to guide you to know how important it is for your credit scores and to put money to the side and to try to figure out what your future is going to be as far as finance, looking even toward what you're going to do in retirement or whatnot or whatever. I mean, because it's a process. You have to build on it. You can't just get to that point and all of a sudden say, okay, what am I going to do? But being affiliated with the credit union has helped me a lot because I was not the best saving type of person, to be honest with you. I didn't have a whole lot of money to save, but as I promoted and was able to put some monies away, I used the credit union and the ability for it to come out of my check. I didn't have to, make that extra effort to go into the bank or whatnot or whatever. It was grand. So it was away from me, so I couldn't mess it up. Also, I financed 2 cars. Well, before it was Northrop Grumman, it was the old credit union, whatever that was. I've been able to finance 2 cars through it. Matter of fact, Cheryl helped me greatly in my last venture to get what I call my retirement car. I really didn't all I had to do is call her and let her know, and then I was able to sit back. I didn't have to do anything else. I would contact the Body Credit Union. They did all the work. It was just great. And also I know there's other financial offerings, I can say, that the credit union has. And I talk to the operators. We have rap sessions, or we're talking one-on-one or whatnot, or whatever, to the younger people to let them know my experience and that the credit union is there, and to utilize it as much as possible, because you guys reach out to people, and once a person like maybe needs a home loan or whatever they need, a personal loan or whatever, once they reach out to you guys take the ball. You pass the baton. I pass the baton to you. You guys hit it, and it's really great financial institution, should I say, to be a part of, because I feel I'm a part of the credit union.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And you know what? Being a part of a credit union is like being part of an exclusive organization. So, because those benefits go directly back to our members. So I thank you so much for sharing your personal testimony. It was very moving, and it just really, really continues to build my honor to be here with you today.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And then I promise just one more question, and we will allow you to get back to your busy schedule.
Yeah,
But I think this one would be very beneficial to all of our viewers who will be watching, as we will have this this recorded and posted. So what career tips do you have for women aspiring to achieve the Metro Director level?
I feel that your record from the time you step on this property to the time that you leave, you want to do the things that MTA asks you to do. And to me, when I worked in when I was out as a bus operator, trust me, I don't even know how I became a bus operator. I mean, I I was working for the city of LA, and I was a single parent. I needed to make more money. I needed to have a career, because I didn't see anywhere that I could go at that time. So as a bus operator, I feel I was my own boss, or my own, I don't like the word boss, supervisor. And all I had to do was follow the rule book, and do what MTA expected for me to do. And then as I made supervisor, it's the same thing. Your record and what you do will follow you wherever you go. So you want to always give your 100%, 120%. We don't always understand why decisions are made at the authority. Some things we agree with, some things we don't. But once a decision is made and we're going to move whatever way we're going to move, that's what you need to do. Move with the company, still give the best that you can. And with time, your record will speak for yourself. Not only that, I guess people saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. Just like the fact that I was selected I was the first operations person, or should I say the second operations person, when on the rail team. They called it the rail activation team, the RAG. I was on the team with 3 men and myself. I didn't know anything about rail, nothing about rail. When the general manager called me up and asked me to be on the project, I looked at him and I told him, I said, I don't know anything about rail. Don't they still shovel coals and trains? I mean, I don't know anything. But why he called me was because of my record. My record showed the type of person that I had, and I guess they saw potential in me. And he asked me, did I want to take the challenge? And I did. And for many years, it just was myself and the three superintendents before we went to Canada. And then it was 11 guys. And then as we went through the startup, breaking into trains, I was working all type of hours, we were working graveyards and breaking into trains on 2 miles of track, going back and forth all night, doing all these acceptance testings and all that. I was the only woman out there learning how to throw switches. And I mean, physically, you had to physically throw these railroad switches with a crank bar, get down on your hands and crank the rails over. Sometimes I would say, have you lost your mind? Why are you over here? Or whatnot or whatever. But when we opened in July of 1990 was our opening day for the Blue Line within myself. And then I've had mentors through the years to lift me up, to help educate me, to teach me, and to and it allowed me to know that I could do the job. And it gave me confidence. And I know I'm talking too long, but basically that is why I am where I am right now. And I wouldn't have done it any other way. Like I said, I had a real hard knock during the time that I wasn't real, but I'm still standing. I had being the only woman for a long time. I had people to ignore me, to discredit me, to act like I didn't even exist. But I made it through. I'm still standing. So I just say, keep your record clean, do what you're supposed to do, and stay strong and positive. And I see opportunities will happen. The door will be opened, and it is up to you if you want to walk through that door. And if you take the challenge, and I took the challenge, I walked through the door, and here I am.
That was absolutely wonderful. I am one to really show my emotions easily, and so I had to fight hard not to do that. What I really like so much that you said in conjunction with everything was the fact that you talked about your record speaking for you. Your record is your voice. It is the history of what you have done, and it is your resume in many ways to tell the ones who are interested what you are capable of. And I think that was excellent advice. Excellent
Thank you.
advice for those who would want to reach that goal. And you talked about cranking in the switches and having to do manual labor, being
Yeah,
the only female represented, but you didn't give up. Perseverance was your goal, and you took it all the way, and I applaud that.
well,
Thank you
thank you.
so much for sharing that with us.
And thank you for allowing me to share it.
What I would like to ask you just a few questions that would give us a little background on you. So we are just so eager to hear what you have to say. So would you please tell us a little bit about your background and your current role of director?
Okay, a little bit of background, and if I get a little choked up, that's okay. I'm from a small town in Arkansas. My father was in the Air Force and we traveled a lot. Didn't realize that we were poor until we got out of the Air Force. Fast forward, went to college in Memphis, Tennessee. Then I moved out to Los Angeles. I was trying to figure out, should I go to Atlanta or should I come to Los Angeles? And my mother said to me, go to Los Angeles. You have relatives out there. If you can't find a job, at least you can eat. So then I started my career in the healthcare field, in recruitment and then human resources. And then I switched jobs and decided to take a pay cut and come to RTD at the time because the benefits, and I had gotten married and had a child. So I was looking at long term. And here I am as in 1998, I became a director. And they called them managers then, but I became a director. And before that, I was over labor relations here at RTD, then Metro. And I've been a director ever since.
Wow, thank you so much. You really gave us a lot of good history, and really paints a picture about you and why you are such a significant leader at Metro. So thank you so much. Starting from small, humble times and then building all the way up to the director level now is just a huge success. And we really celebrate that, not only today, but going forward.
All right. Thank you.
So my next question to you is, what role does financial stability play in one's career advancement? And then if you can connect that to any personal testimony you may have of using Northrop Grumman Federal Credit Union for your financial endeavors.
Well, after my marriage, I I am a parent, and I became a single parent. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to get my son stabilized in school and elementary and secondary, and also in college. So I felt that my mother told me one time, she said, always pay your bills and then pay yourself. And that meant to her, go out and buy your dress, go out and buy your pair of shoes, go out and buy a beret, whatever, give yourself something. What I decided to do with what she told me was save money for my son's education. And that gave me comfort in that I would know that money would be there. And had I not listened to my mother, I don't think my son would have gone to college. Um, Here at Metro, then RTD, it gave me stability. It gave me a way of, the credit union gave me a way of saving money and not seeing it. And I don't know if you can understand that. I didn't want to get it in my check and then go, oh, I'm going to go and put it in my savings. I wanted it to go directly into something. And so that's how I financed my son's schoolings, secondary for sure, because I put him in private school by my choice, and then getting him into college and having to foot the bill, the majority myself.
My goodness, that is just tremendous. One of the golden nuggets that you shared, I just have to highlight this, is your mom telling you to pay your bills first and then pay yourself. I think so many times, particularly if we are carrying out the role of an independent parent or a single parent, we are so focused on our child or our children that we forget self.
Right.
And in that, we cannot help anyone else if we don't help ourselves first. And so mothers really come through with that golden nugget, and that was one that you carry through your life, and it really shows why you're such a tremendous leader.
Thank you.
So my last question to you, if I may, is what career tips do you have for women aspiring to achieve the Metro director level?
You know, I can't say it was a struggle, but it was difficult. And you need to keep in mind, when I started out my career at Metro, it was in the 80s. And because it was in the 80s, and as I use the word fought my way up, the majority of the time I was the only woman in the room. And not only was I the only woman in the room, I was the only Black woman in the room. And it was a struggle because First of all, don't always judge a book by its cover. And that's what I think at some point it would happen. I could see that men could say and do whatever they wanted to in a meeting. But if I spoke up or I was passionate about something, and I call it passion, but other people call it other things. And I had to fight for respect. And then I started earning it after I opened my mouth, and they understood that what I said is reasonable and they could move forward with it. But I think over the years, now I know over the years it has gotten better, but it's been really a struggle through the years for women in general and minority women. And sometimes you don't have to be the loudest voice in the room, but you have to do your homework more than men do. And you have to come across, I've always been me. And sometimes it was good and sometimes it was bad. And when I say bad is that they, I don't know if it was jealousy. My one of my bosses said, and it may sound strange to you guys, but he said, and he was a minority, Hispanic, and he said, what I like about you is you aren't, people take your look for weakness. And when you open your mouth, there's always good that comes out of it. So you just stay strong, stay persistent, and believe in what you believe. Because being in labor relations when I was here and then going to director, you have to sit back, and I like to sit back and analyze things and do my homework before I go into any meeting. And so I feel that that was a struggle back then, and it's gotten much better with the laws changing and with having well, not numbers, but being able, you walk in a room and you see everyone. You don't just see a group, this group, that group in individual meetings. You see a combination of backgrounds and a combination of perspectives, which makes to me a company work. And I'm always about the truth, and I'm always about having integrity. And mm, a guy said to me, and he was a multimillionaire, he said that I would never be rich, a millionaire, because I don't take chances. And, over the years, I've thought about that. And sometimes let me speak for me, in my position, being female, being a Black woman trying to fight her way up the ladder, I felt that I couldn't take a lot of chances that others, because I had to think about my son. And I had to think about, if I didn't have this job, where would we be? So I had to take baby steps where others could just jump from point A to point D, it seems like, without any effort. And I had to make sure all of my steps were correct and that I was heard, and not being the mad woman in the room, if that makes sense.
That indeed makes sense. The way that you're being heard, the way that you are being received and perceived is very, very important, not for you, but for all minorities that you speak to. What you had to say was really, really passionate, and it really spoke a lot to those who will be viewing this video and taking away what they have learned from it. To be a minority in the 80s and representing two minority levels with race as well as gender. What a struggle. What a representation. What a story of history that brings to the table. And then you talked about respect and how respect is not always a given.
Right.
Sometimes you have to earn it. And by being singled out in those groups that you represented, being the only woman, being the only minority, you had to set the stage and you had to set it so that you were respected. And that was just $1 million worth of advice. And so we thank you so much for that today. We thank you for wearing your passion on your sleeve and
Thank you.
sharing with us so deeply.
Thank you for having me. And I'm sorry. Sometimes you reflect back and you don't realize until you look in the rear view mirror what really happened and how you really feel and what you had to go through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you to you both so much. Um, Ms. Rita Woodson, if you can come back on as well, I would just like to lead Northrop Grumman team today in saying thank you to you both. This was so inspirational. I cannot tell you how much I got out of this. Thank you both.
Thank you
Thank you
You're more
too.
both.
than welcome.
Thank everyone too.
I applaud you.
Right. Thank